Welcome, my friends, to a special Saturday broadcast. You're like, what are these two crazy men doing on a Saturday? That's not the day they're supposed to be here. Well, that's the day you got us, so you better love it. So you have dropped into Game Pass News. That's right. No, you dropped into Game Pass Tracker, which is the best place for Game Pass news. That's what I meant to say. This is episode 153, and it's recorded on a crazy Saturday, May 18th. I'm Nick Metzger, here with the best dang co-host a guy could ever have. That's right, Mr. Sean Abbott. He's right next to me or below me or around me somewhere, wherever you're looking. You'll hear his dulcet tones in just a second. We're going to fill your brains with all this week's bits and bobs of Xbox. There's a lot of new games coming out. We got a lot of day-and-date games like Hellblade 2. Hell, we've been looking for that game for 100 years. Sarah Bond talked a lot. Did she say anything? We're not real sure. All right, so let's get into the news.
Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, and good night from wherever you're listening, whenever you're listening. What is up, everybody? Welcome to today's show. I want to welcome you to your favorite Xbox Game Pass podcast, the Game Pass Tracker Show. You can find us on pretty much every social networking app. Just look for @GPT Gaming News, and you'll find us. Don't hesitate to ask us any questions. You can do that by shooting us an email to show@gamepasstracker.com. And if you're liking what you are hearing, we'd love for you to tell us. Leave us a review on your podcast app of choice. It really helps us grow, helps us reach more fans like yourself. We wouldn't be a Game Pass show if we weren't talking about the main title of everything, really, Xbox Game Pass. If you love Game Pass, you love our show, and you want to show your support, head over to the link in the description and sign up to Game Pass from the Xbox.com website. Not only will you be supporting us, the Game Pass Tracker Show, and the family of things that are to come in the future, you'll also be signing up to the best gaming subscription going, which, of course, is Xbox Game Pass. You can sign up to whatever level you desire, be that PC Game Pass, Core, or Game Pass Ultimate. Just play your own way by using the code in the chat, the show notes, and you'll help us to continue to grow, create the awesome content on whatever day we feel like making that content, depending on the week that we've had, which is why we've done it this week on the Saturday. It has been a rough week for both of us. But yeah, so without much further ado, please, Nick, take us into the Game Pass headlines.
The Game Pass Headlines is where we talk about all this week's news, and we have 5 juicy, hot, awesome, amazing stories just for you people. First off, we told you the Redfall was done. We weren't going to get another update. It was really sad. There was a single-player update, but no, we were wrong. It came out so that Redfall is getting its last update. It will be a single-player single-player pausing offline update. So I'm actually really excited for this one, Sean. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I don't know if it's going to make me jump back in, but I think the offline stuff is pretty important, and I'm glad that they've at least let them push out this final update.
Right. I was lost where we were in the document then.
Did I not go to the right spot? Did I do the wrong thing?
I think you've gone straight to the X feed for this week. You've gone straight into the top stories.
Oh, shit. You know what? It's Saturday. Screw this. This is how we're going to do it.
Okay.
No.
We'll do it.
No, I'm sorry. I don't know what the hell happened. It's Saturday and I've had, okay. Anyways, hell, that's not where we're at, guys.
We'll carry on with the news and we'll come back to what's happening. Screw it. We'll do it that way. It's Saturday. And like you said, okay, let's flip it around. Flip it, reverse it. Let me work it. No, I'm happy. I'm super happy that Arcane decided that they would drop this, give everybody kind of like the last hoorah with the game before, obviously the developer like kind of crumbles under the pressure of being underneath Microsoft, which is a joke. No, they've closed it for whatever reasons we don't know. Sarah Bond didn't allude to much in that little interview that she did, so we're still kind of like looking to the horizon for reasonings behind all the studios closing. So,
yeah, no, and I don't think we're ever gonna know. In fact, if Sarah Bond said anything, she said that. She said, well, each studio is its own thing, and they're all unique, and they're all different, and in the end, we do whatever the hell we want. That's pretty much what she said, which is fine. That's very true. It's their shindig. They can do what they want. But I am glad that they let this last one get out. Rumor alert! Red Dead Redemption might be coming to Game Pass. Listen, people, I don't know how this works. There are people that can data mine for stuff. I don't even know what that really means, if I'm going to be really completely honest. They dig into the code somewhere. I don't even know where they find the code from. But anyways, they've dug into the code of something and found that deep inside the code, there's a description for Red Dead Redemption, available on Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 3, PlayStation Plus Premium for PS4 and PS5, Xbox 360, and wait for it, Xbox Game Pass. Would you go back to
This is interesting. So is this Red Dead or Red Dead 2?
No, this is the original Red Dead Redemption.
I would probably give this a go if it came to playing it, because I don't think I ever played the first one. I only played the second one.
See, I've never played the second one. I've played this one. I beat this one. I like this one.
Oh.
But
so I'd play this just to see how much they developed from Red Dead to Red Dead 2.
Yeah, I bet it'd be a lot. But like I said, I've never played Red Dead 2. We put our brains together. We'd have one full Red Dead experience between the two of us. So yeah, I don't think I would go back to it at this point, having already beat it. But I certainly think it's cool for those people like yourself who haven't played it. Bring me Red Dead 2. Be cool if Red Dead 2 came next.
Because we only had the online at one point with Red Dead 2. So I'd like the full story. The full story would be amazing. My dad still plays it now. And he's one of them people that played it when it first came out and has continued to just gradually keep playing it for a long period of time. So
nice. So that's story number 2. By the way, we have 5 stories. I'm not sure if I said that in the whole intro when I realized that I skipped an entire 1/3 of our podcast. But anyways, moving on. Microsoft Rewards adds multiple new features, including streak protection, which I don't know if that's the official name, but if it is, God bless him. I think that's fantastic. Streak protection. All right. Anybody watch the Super Bowl, that guy needed streak protection, let me tell you. So the interesting piece of this is eligible users who accidentally miss a day can restore their streak once every 60 days. If you have more than a 100-day streak, you can restore it once a month. That's generous.
That's fair enough.
Yeah, I think it's generous of them. They didn't have to do that, So, yeah, I think it's a cool little added perk benefit for people. I mean, life happens, right? You get busy, you miss a day if you're really like trying to stay on this, or maybe you're just, I don't know, enjoying family on a vacation. Who knows? There's like a million things that could happen. Maybe you have a shitty day and you get in a car accident. That happened to us lately. I mean, there's a million different things that could happen.
Yeah, I mean, if you miss one day, that's fair enough. But if you go away for like a 2-week holiday, how do you claim 2 weeks back?
You don't. You restart. You get 1 day grace period here, Sean. If you miss 2,
okay,
you're out. You're done. So yeah,
I suppose going forward, if they do some kind of handheld cloud gaming device, or this counts in the mobile application that's coming, that's not too bad because you can kind of like log in, play a game, trigger that reward, and then just shut it off and be like, okay, I've logged in, I'm done. Right, I don't have to worry about it now for another 24 hours, kind of thing.
Yeah. I think it's a fun little feature. Glad they added it. This is an interesting one for me, Sean. I'm not gonna lie. When I read this, I was a little surprised. Activision is opening a new studio to build genre-defining games at Microsoft. After Microsoft just canned 4 studios, 2 of which have made pretty successful games. I'd say 3 almost, of which had made pretty successful games in the recent future, and now there's another studio opening up. I mean, that's fine. this Sarah Bond, as we'll get into, stated the closing wasn't completely about the bottom line today, but more where they're going to be in the future. So I guess maybe this studio is where they want to be in the future.
Yeah, I mean, I said it when we were talking about them getting rid of studios last week. That I think this is a long-term plan in terms of they are a big umbrella with lots of studios underneath them. I wouldn't want to go and count exactly how many because there's some that are named under other ones as well, which it just makes it even more confusing. But as Microsoft gaming studios as a whole have like a hold over these different publishers and developers, it seems sensible to remove a couple, squash them together, and be like, "Hey, look, you guys made awesome games. You guys made awesome games. Now, like, here you go, make awesome games together. Like we'll call them genre defining, and people will be happy about it because they're getting new shiny stuff."
That's true.
I mean, we've gone from having bad news to good news because
that's true.
If they're opening studios, that means that those people that were now out of work could apply and be in work. So
look at you being glass half full. I'm over here being negative Nelly, and you're all like, but look, wait, this is great. I will say one thing that really I think is great. The studio also seems to be doubling down. This is in the Pure Xbox article. The studio also seems to be doubling down on narrative experiences with Uncharted, Last of Us, Cyberpunk 2077, Witcher 3, and Destiny developers helping form the team. I mean, hey, I like that. Names, let me say. I mean, that sounds pretty great to me. So that's cool. So there you have it. That was story number 4. I can count. Story number 5. Bethesda trademark hints at new Doom announcement for Xbox Games Showcase. All right, I pitched it for you, Sean. You take it from here.
I'm so happy. Yeah, I can't wait. It's got to come. He's got to come soon anyway. Hence why he's the thumbnail of this week's show, blasting through a door and making his appearance. So I wasn't aware of this. It was brought to my attention by Nick before we started because I don't very rarely use cheat codes. So ZeniMax has filed for a trademark for a video game, and they've titled that video game IDKFA, which is ID, keys, firearms, and armor, is apparently what the cheat code stands for. And what this did is, in Doom, you could put this in, you hit a keystroke on the keyboard, and you could put codes in. If you put this one in, it granted you all the keys, all the guns, all the ammo, and 200% power armor kind of thing, which was the armor which kind of disappeared before you started taking your hit points started dropping. So this is a really good hint as to that they could potentially be working on something Doom related, which would be just fantastic news. You'll see me as we react to the summer showcase with Mr. Atkins. It will just light my face up big time.
Yeah. I hope you get the game, man. I'm here for you if you do. I can't wait to see how excited you'll be, and hope they announce something for you. I think it's cool. It sounds like it's a callback. This was a code for the original Doom game. So callback would be cool. What do you want to see? What would you want to see? If you could see anything, what do you want to see?
I don't know, because we've had like Doom 2016 Doom. We saw him go between hell and between Mars, hell, and Earth, and the original Dooms were all the same between Mars, hell, and Earth. Doom Eternal was a little bit different, a few different mechanics, and you were kind of dealing with the gods in some essences in some places, which was different. But I would like to see, like the reasoning behind why they created the Doomslayer. So going back to like a bit of a backstory, like we're getting with Halo, we're getting that kind of backstory how John 117 is the Master Chief and how he got to there. I would like to see how the Doom guy came around. Like, who was he prior to being the Doomslayer, and why did they choose him? And
that'd be cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
We've never had the helmet come off the Doom guy. Is that correct?
Not that we've seen. Okay. No.
All right.
It's like he's pulled it off, and it, like you've seen, is like it just dropped to the side of his hand, all beat up and stuff. But you've never really seen his face.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I think that'd be cool. Give the guy a backstory. I'm down for that. Sweet. Good thinking, Sean. All right, that is story number 5. We have no news bulletins, my friends. Our feature story is the Sarah Bond interview. We chatted a little bit about this. We said this dropped, the interview dropped in our last podcast. We wanted some time to digest the news and also the Sarah Bond interview, and now we've had time to kind of go over all that. And so we're going to chat about it for a little bit. So I kind of, this is kind of the notes we have, Sean, are kind of how it all rolled out from a 16-minute interview with Business Insider, I think. Sorry, I hope I didn't get that wrong.
Was it Business Insider? It was.
Am I wrong? Sorry if I'm wrong.
Please. Was it either Business Insider or was it not Wall Street?
No, I think it was. Anyways, so one of the first things that I thought was interesting, she started off kind of saying, the games industry has kind of run flat. That's despite a lot of AAA games, the industry isn't moving in an upward trajectory, and they're trying to kind of position themselves to be in a good place with that, and what that means, and what that means for them, and one of the things that I think is interesting is like where I don't have the complete numbers, but we came off of a period of time in 2020 where everybody was stuck at home and video games were the biggest things on earth for that period of time because it was the only thing you could really it was one of the biggest kinds of entertainment that was available, and Animal Crossing was super hot, and Doom had just come out literally on the same day. And
what else? The Ring Fit, that was like rocking horse shit to find.
That became big. That became a big deal. And so, it's kind of interesting. I think we had a false inflation of games, in my opinion. We had a false inflation of games in the COVID period of time, and I don't think they were ever going to stay there. So, I understand it's fallen flat. But if games are not in a downward trajectory, I think that's actually a win for the industry right now, because that tells me it's staying at the peak it was during COVID, and now we're kind of flat from there, and that doesn't seem all that surprising to me.
Yeah. I mean, it has, in some places, it has slowed down because COVID was such a thing where people ended up having to work from home. They didn't come into an office, so when they were working on projects together, it was a little bit more stretched thin in terms of you were relying on people actually doing the work and being there, or being able to communicate well, because communication obviously was one of the first things that started to break down during COVID because people weren't in the same office. You couldn't just pop into somebody's office space and be like, hey, can we chat about this? Everything was done by Zoom calls and things like that, and people were having to make the adjustments for working from home and things. So that I think that slowed a lot of the stuff down. It also closed a few studios as well, which were working on big games. And then obviously we've had the Russia-Ukraine crisis, which is one of the reasons why Stalker 2 has been so slow to come out, because it was heavily, that area of the world was heavily affected by the crisis. So developers there is some fantastic developers in Eastern Europe that were affected by the crisis are, slowly reawakening from that and getting back into making stuff. So I can see that, yes, the industry has been ever so slightly flat, but we've recovered from a huge pandemic and gone through a potential war starting in certain areas of the world. So it's just been a bit of a crazy time, really, and not everybody's fully focused because they've got things going on.
Yeah.
So we are relying on the big games kind of keeping that peak, like you said, like just bouncing across the top of the peak rather than it being like an upward trajectory or a downward trajectory, which we're kind of bouncing from big game to big game. So
yeah. And then the next thing they talked about, which I thought this was a really good question, which was, you had two studios that had produced some banger games. Tango Works with Hi-Fi Rush having gotten some awards and great reception and engagement on Game Pass. And she asked, what does that mean? How do you gauge with these studios? Which ones get closed and which one doesn't? And to that, Sarah Bond kind of responded, hey, it's a creative art form and all these studios are unique and we take it by a case-by-case situation. I can tell you if I had a studio right now for under Xbox, I'm going to Phil, Sarah. Yeah, well, that too. But I'm going to Phil, Sarah, whoever, and saying, what do you want to see from me? Like, because we were talking about Hi-Fi Rush a ton, along with the rest of all these other podcasts that run that run Xbox Game Pass podcasts, and talking about how it was cool, it was creative, it was jazzy, it won awards. So it's like, well, listen, if that's not what you want, what are you looking for from me? Because that's what I need to know right now. Because I would have thought that guy was doing real good, and apparently you didn't.
Like a complete genre change for the game developer itself, making a rhythm style, live action like RPG style game with platforming, etc. It's bizarre that they think, oh well, that was big. It brought a lot of attention. It gained a lot of traction as it moved over to Sony as well, on their service. So why on earth, like you say, do you close down such a big developer like that?
Yeah. And that answer, if I'm a studio head, gives me no comfort. It's like, well, listen, it's case by case. It's, it's a creative art form. We kind of look at it. Everyone's unique. We just kind of, whatever, we're trying to kind of future-proof ourselves. That's great. But, man, I mean, if you're working under that, that means you really don't know. And nobody ever really does, but you really have no idea if you're going to stay or go because it's a case by case. So I'd want to know, what's my goal? What's my mission? What keeps me on the books, please?
Yeah. And what, like you said, what do I have to do? Like, what do I have to go and create for you? Like, give me some guidance here. So
yeah. Next, she said, and I thought this was very interesting, not to toot her own horn, but we kind of said this was a bigger reason than people were realizing. She said, a lot of why we did what we did was because of mobile. And she was talking about the ActiBliz acquisition, which I thought that was very interesting. So a lot of why we did it was mobile. So we talked about this last week because we had kind of rumored it, but she talked about a mobile hub for gamers that follows you. So this is kind of like, they're gonna press into cross-platform, cross-save. It doesn't matter if you're an Android, iPhone, whatever user, Windows, Google, whatever. This is web-based, so it gets around those closed ecosystems. And it looks like if you're playing on an Android and you can pick up an iPhone and you can log back into your web-based Xbox mobile hub and you can take right off from wherever you were. So she specifically mentions that they're going to start this service with first-party software before it goes to partners. She mentions Candy Crush. She mentioned Minecraft. Sounds good to me. I think both those things. I think it's interesting that she mentions Minecraft, and you made it you thought it was a bigger deal than I really did, Sean. But you mentioned you were really all about the Minecraft subscription service thing.
Yep.
So I think opening Minecraft up to this mobile hub and growing that while having just dropped this Minecraft service. I think both of those play really well. I don't think that happened on accident. So,
that's some very clever marketing.
yeah.
And far thought as to where things are going. I mean, Minecraft's just hit 15 years old. But like, it dawned on me on my way home from mother-in-law's this evening because I could hear Logan playing it in the background, and I was thinking to myself, my 6-year-old is playing a 15-year-old game. So, like, Minecraft is a fantastic investment. So I can fully understand and back why they're looking at the mobile aspect that they can dip into as well as a subscription aspect for that. So I think that's going to be one of the biggest ones that they do in their mobile hub.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. I think that is 100% true. She did say third-party partners will be using it shortly after launch, but didn't give a time frame, although she was pushed on that. Cloud gaming. She mentioned cloud gaming. She mentioned that there's more demand than they have supply, which I think if you play cloud gaming, you can see the little rocket penis go for 5 to 30 minutes, depending on. So that's, I would say, correct. Xbox, they're rolling out more capacity and new options. Didn't really mention what that is, but that's what she said. And cloud gaming is growing faster than the overall market. So apparently the market's flat, but cloud gaming is not, is what I gather from that.
Yeah, we're hitting a generation of people that are more welcoming to digital cloud gaming rather than like we always reminisce of going to the store and day one midnight releases, buying the physical copy, having something to show off, that kind of thing. And gaming is switching into a generation of Steam users who are quite happy to have a digital cloud-based library that they own.
So. Or that they think they own. But either way, they're fine to not. The right way to say it is they're fine to not own it for the convenience of what it is, and that's fine. Like there's nothing wrong with that. I am too. Nothing wrong with that at all. Like I mean, I don't have a case of DVDs anymore. Instead, I have a bazillion different movies I can watch at any given point in time. I don't own them. They could go away tomorrow. Blah blah blah. But the convenience of it's pretty sweet, and so we roll with it. And yeah, you're right. People got used to that with movies, and now they're very much in that boat with games. So let's see. They moved on to hardware, and she kind of fleshes out a bit. She says, I have said previously that this is going to be the biggest leap ever in hardware, and she kind of fleshes that out just a little, not like what her range of biggest leap is, I think, is what she fleshes out. She says, listen, the biggest leap is really thinking of every aspect with the core gamer in mind. It is about performance, but also playing all the games that they've played for decades with the hardware of the future. The next part is about crossplay and saves, playing anywhere on any device. And it's also about Game Pass, which gets to like the news of this interview, like the thing. Every single first-party Xbox game, day and date. So that is by far the biggest news dropped of this. So that would mean all of your Call of Duties, all of your anything first-party. It doesn't matter what it is. It's coming to Game Pass, day and date.
That's gonna make their subscription count grow massively when they announce that Call of Duty is coming to Game Pass day one, no purchase necessary. The subscription figures are going to go from like a nice steady incline to just all of a sudden skyrocket with a little tiny rocket penis stuck to the top, and just disappear. And that's when I think we're going to start seeing bigger issues with things like cloud gaming. I'm going to probably start seeing bigger games kind of being landed on Game Pass because you pique that interest and you have people on the service and stuff like that. When they come away from Call of Duty for a little bit, or they have family members that like log in and use their account, or if they come out with a family plan as well for around the time that this happens. I know 2 together would be fantastic. People are going to see how many different games are on there, what games are coming day and date with Game Pass, and your the buffet will be open to them. So they'll be sampling different games. They'll be dabbling in, indies. They'll be dabbling in Microsoft owned studios that they might not have played before because they are just all they play on a console is Call of Duty. I think we'll see more PC Game Pass people coming because rather than purchasing it on Steam and playing it that way, or I'm not entirely certain how it works on a PC in terms of like if Activision have their own portal or anything like that when you purchase games, but I'll see PC Game Pass subscribers will probably bounce through the roof as well.
Yeah, it'll definitely be huge. I'm excited. I kind of figured this would be a thing, so I'm not shocked. But it is good to get some verification that it actually is there. I also think it's interesting, temper your expectations, my friends, with what the biggest leap ever in an iteration of hardware means. I think maybe it doesn't entirely mean what it means to Sarah, what it means to you. So, and I think that's what she's trying to get across. This is not just about a box and how many gigawatts are in the box. This is about the box and the platform that they've built around it and what it all means and what it all you can do with that whole platform. So that's what I read from that.
Yeah. To keep it in price point, I can't see them doing great leaps and bounds within technology-wise with inside the box. So I think when they're talking about leaps and bounds, it's definitely more software and accessibility to that software via your hardware.
Mm-hmm.
So something that they might pop something out that is cloud-based only.
Yeah, I think there could be a lot there. And then the last piece they talked about was AI and how they're using it and how they're looking at it. And so Sarah talks about how it's developer velocity, which was, I was like glad she'd explain this because I had no idea what that was. Pretty much how do we help devs speed up the cycle and make game development easier for them. Discovery, how do we match people with the games that they love, that they don't even know they love. That's specifically what she's talking about here. Games that you will love but you wouldn't try on your own, but Game Pass is going to be like, hey, look at this game is definitely one you'll like. And then experience in game, how to basically, the way she said it was how to help the I put how to help the player, but she specifically mentioned things, and she did say those specific words, but she specifically mentioned things like stuck points and frustration points, and like almost like trying to find a way to have AI play the game as a player, which makes a lot of sense, to more easily be able to identify like, oh yeah, that's definitely going to be an issue, which seems like a great way to use AI, right? Because an AI can play that game probably, I don't know, 100 times a day, probably 100 times an hour, and you'll get a real feel for what that looks like compared to like one person playing that game for X amount of hours, not even probably getting through it one whole time in one day. So I thought that was an interesting way to use AI that made a lot of sense.
Yeah. And I mean, there's rumors about using AI for things like NPC voices,
yep,
and character lines and stuff like that, which, I mean, we use GPT here at Game Pass Record Show, and I've never dealt with anything like as intelligent as that. It's fantastic for churning out extra bits and pieces when you need the extra bits and pieces. So if they can use that as a developer for NPC content for dialogue, it'd probably save a hell of a lot of time.
Yeah.
Especially when I'm like now playing Fallout 4 and forgot how much dialogue there is between certain people. It'd be a time saver.
Yeah, and I mean, especially when you what gets me excited about AI when it comes to like chat and all that stuff is if you can make AI smart enough to have intelligent conversations dynamically, right? Because then it's like almost endless. If your character chooses a certain type of shirt or has a different type of weapon or doesn't do this quest line or does do that quest line or does this quest line but doesn't do it the right way, like that NPC then can speak to you dynamically in a different way rather than at some point you can only record so much audio before it's like, okay, these are the only branches to the story tree. If you can dynamically have AI speak to you, then the branches to that story tree become almost endless.
And it makes gameplay unique,
right,
for everybody. Though.
Yeah.
I mean, I could play if you want to apply it to Fallout 4. We could play because you'd play Fallout 4 differently to how I play it.
Sure.
So we would have two completely different, unique, experiences with the game, gameplay wise, but then two completely different experiences with dialogue.
Yeah. Yeah, it just very interesting what you could do with that. All in all, like I said, it was a 16-minute interview. There were nuggets in that 16 minutes that shed light. There were nuggets that were huge. There was a nugget that was huge, I think I would say, which is the verification of day one games. But other than that, most of them, I think, just kind of shed light. And I think she did a very, PR thing, which there's no other way that it would go down. She's not going to go and spill the balance sheet for these studios. So she just kind of skirted around the studio question, which is kind of what you would expect, I think, of that particular thing.
Yeah.
So
it was definitely don't talk about this. Don't talk about that scenario going down.
And I mean, that's nothing that any other studio or any other big game company wouldn't do. If it was a Nintendo or a PlayStation going through this, that's exactly how they would handle it. Xbox is always really good about putting one of the big people out when things are a bit shaky to field some tough questions. So I'm not surprised that Xbox did that this time, and I think Sarah did an amazing job of handling it. So yeah. Any other things before we go to Game Pass headlines?
No, let's go to Game Pass headlines and talk about the games that we got shown, because there's a lot of them.
Yeah. Hey, this is the Game Pass headlines, Sean.
Really?
Yeah.
Are we we're definitely in the right section now?
Yeah, I think so. I didn't put the new new deal out, but I'm getting there. Don't worry.
I have it for you, so let me do that.
Oh, you did? Look at you. So here you go. Available Tuesday. When's this out? It just says today. Tuesday, May 14th. Available Tuesday, May 14th. Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons, out everywhere. The critically acclaimed and award-winning classic is returning to the Game Pass library. Guide two brothers on an epic fairy tale journey from visionary Swedish film director Joseph Fares and the developer Starbreeze Studios. Solve puzzles, explore the varied locations, and fight boss battles while controlling one brother with each thumbstick. This is the gentleman, Joseph Fares is the gentleman that did the It Takes Two, which was a critically acclaimed Game of the Year shocker. So, and then next, Wednesday, May 15th, Chants of Sonar. Am I doing that right? Yeah. Wednesday, May 15th, Chants of Sonar, out everywhere. In this award-winning puzzle adventure game, play as a traveler whose quest is to reunite the peoples of the tower. Observe, listen, and decipher ancient languages in a fascinating universe inspired by the myth of Babel. Sean, this seems like maybe something for you. It seems like an environmental puzzle.
It is downloaded and sat on my dashboard waiting.
Gotcha.
So it is.
I could see it. EA Sports NHL 24. This is already out on your console and I believe PC Game Pass, but now they've added it to the cloud. that was done on Thursday, May 16th. It's a hockey game, folks. We're not gonna read the title here, okay? Immortals of Avium is out everywhere, but only on X and S. So you got to have an X and S to play it. That's Thursday, May 16th, already out. Immortals of Avium is coming to the playlist. Summon your power with PC Game Pass and Ultimate via EA Play. In the single-player, first-person magic shooter, unleash an arsenal of spells as Jack, who joins an elite order of battle mages to save a world on the edge of abyss. So you got to have, as they said, you got to have Ultimate if you want this. So it's the only way you're getting it. That is all out this week.
Was Go Mecha one of the ones that came out? Or is that coming out? Because I'm pretty sure I've seen that somewhere, but I'm not 100% certain now.
Okay, you start. I will search Go Mecha, and you start on next week.
Okay, so next week, just a tiny little game. Nobody's really fussed about this. No. We haven't been waiting freaking ages for it. No. I'm kidding now. Senua's Saga Hellblade 2 is coming. It is coming soon, people. It is there. It's very, very ready for you to pre-install, ready to rock and roll. I think it's somewhere around the 70 gigabyte mark, but I could be wrong. Don't absolutely hold me to that. But it's there. You can pre-install it now. It's the sequel to the award-winning Hellblade, which is still on the service, which I learned yesterday. I thought that it disappeared, but Mr. Hambo and Johnny kind of reminded me of that because he's playing it. He's dipped back in for a 14-day trial of Game Pass just to play a few games. I hope he extends that with a new game coming out. But, she returns to a brutal journey of surviving through the myth and torment of Viking Iceland. She's intent on saving those who have fallen victim to the horrors of the tyranny. And she faces a battle, overcoming the darkness within and without. So I'm keen to play this. I'm keen to play the first one for a little bit just to get a taste of how the game plays and what to expect. And then I will fully submerge myself in the second one. Coming Thursday, May 23rd is Galactica. You are the director of Galactica. This is a day one release as well. You're an interstellar healthcare company and a quasi-voluntary saver of the galaxy for cash, of course. Build hospitals, recruit staff to satisfy the whims of various alien species, cure their bizarre illnesses, save the literal galaxy in story mode, or head into sandbox mode and design a hospital of your dreams. So this is like a 2-Point Hospital meets Theme Hospital meets space. If those three kind of got together and had a love child, this would be that game. It looks interesting. I just unfortunately don't play very well with these kind of games on a console. It'd be one to play on the PC, but it is coming everywhere May 23rd, so you can do that if you are a PC Game Pass member. And then the last game is Haunt. Is it Haunty?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I like to. Yeah. It's because it's got 2 eyes at the end. You can never know how to.
Yeah, I mean, I could be wrong. It could be Hauntai. I don't know.
Yeah, Hauntai or Haunty. It's coming to Cloud Console and PC, which is recategorized as everywhere on this show. On May 23rd as well. This is another day one release. Plays a brave yet naive little ghost, Haunty, and set off on a quest guided by enigmatic Eternians. Possess, solve puzzles, and shape your fate in this captivating adventure. The game's handcrafted art style blends line art and animation with a striking palette, creating a visually and captivating experience. Coupled with the dynamic soundtrack, it enhances the immersive exploration of mysterious landscapes. I might try that because I quite like the sound of that. I like I like it when they point out that there is a dynamic soundtrack to go with the good visuals. Like Tunic had that, and it dragged me in. So
yeah, it is. It definitely is. It definitely has some. It's got me interested as well. So that we don't have anything for Game Pass Core. We did get some new Game Pass announcements. We got Moving Out 2, Humanity, Lords of the Fallen, Firework, and Rolling Hills. So we got five games coming between May 28th and June 4th. We will certainly be reporting more on those as they get closer. But we do got new stuff leaving, Sean. What do we got leaving?
New stuff leaving. Chicory, A Colourful Tale is disappearing from everywhere. Farewell Pioneers that is also disappearing. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Pac-Man Museum Plush, Little Witch in the Woods, and Railway Empire 2. All those games are leaving from everywhere. That is from PC Cloud and console. All leaving on May 31st.
Yeah, I'm gonna say this swath of leaving games kind of knifes me a little bit. Like there's a lot of stuff here that wasn't great enough for me to play, but I'm kind of like, no, not yet. Maybe I will. I probably never would, but maybe I will. So I have Chicory, A Colorful Tale, I believe, still on my Xbox. I wouldn't mind trying to finish it. I was playing it with Ariel, then we kind of just dropped it. Far World.
Was that the cute cat paint one?
Yeah. One person can paint. It's all about colors. You color in different colors, can do different things, or actually not different colors. I can't remember, but you can color on stuff and not color on stuff, and doing either one of those could unlock the environmental puzzle for you to move forward. It's a very good environmental puzzler using color. If you got a kiddo, you can make your kiddo number 2, and they can help you by coloring things that you need colored. Works out great. Far World Pioneers. I don't know if you remember this game, Sean. This was the game I was super excited about when it came out, and then it just fell flat for me. I couldn't even put my finger on why. It just didn't grab me the way I thought it would.
Was this was when it came out, when there was an absolute abundance of crafty farm sim games,
though. This was the one where you could play like with 16 people, and you were crafty and you were survivally, and yeah. I don't know anything about JoJo's, but Pac-Man Museum Plush and Little Witch in the Woods, was this the one you tried? And you were like, it was super chatty, and you were like, I can't even.
Yeah, it did have a lot of dialogue. You started off on a train, and it was very slow, and I was like, I think I did 2.5 hours worth of reading in all I played, and I was like, no, I'm done. Sorry.
Yeah.
If I were to read, I'd go read a book.
Yeah, I do get that.
I don't mind dialogue as long as it's supported with a little bit of voice acting. But when it just goes me across the screen, it's like there's only so much you can stand.
Yeah, I totally get you. So yeah, this swath with leaving games, I was kind of like, ooh, man, there's some stuff in there I'd like to play, but I probably never get to. So, anyways, but I do have, same with you, until May 31st to beat them. Probably not going to happen. Or buy them for 20% discount. But I got to do it by May 31st, and so do you. Otherwise, gone forever. Well, actually, they're not gone forever. You just got to play full price on the Microsoft Store. So to be a little bit less dramatic and more accurate, they are not gone forever.
Like with all the drama of like a full diva there, and kind of backpedaled into, well, you do, there might be a set.
This is not like a Disney Vault thing, like buy Cinderella now, it'll be in the Disney Vault for the rest of its life, or for the next 2 months until we bring it out again for a sale. Most people are probably too young to know, but that was.
I think that went over my head ever so slightly. I'm not much younger than you. I'm not much too younger than you. So
there you go. Well, now I feel like I got to go back. So Disney used to like say that they would come out and you could buy a certain DVD for a period of time, but then they would be like, buy it now or else it'll be back in the Disney Vault. I don't know if they'd say forever, but we're not sure when it'll come out of the Disney Vault. But they'd only sell it for a period of time, and then they'd stop selling the DVD. Anyways, there you go.
I think that was a way of trying to A, get people to buy it, and B, keeping true to what Disney's want for people not to be able to own a Disney film at home.
Mm-hmm. So. And then they came out with Disney Plus, and Walt's dream came true. Like,
yep, he definitely did some kind of 1080 double backflip in his grave at that.
Yeah, for sure. So that's the games. I am obviously we'll be playing Hellblade 2. I played Hellblade 1. That was like one of the first games I ever played. I will be giving Galacticare a try. I want to try all three of these, and I think it's great that they're all day and dates. We get them when everybody else gets them. That doesn't happen very often when you have three of those drop in 1 week. But I do hear your sentiment and totally agree. Galacticare could be fun and hilarious and awesome, but if they haven't figured out how to make that menu scrollable with the controller, then it could be clunky and no fun. So I hear your sentiment there.
2 Point Hospital was just on the cusp of getting it.
Mm-hmm.
That was the issue I
agree.
had. Is it was just there, but it was still slow.
Yep.
So
100%. So yeah. You're not interested in Galacticare, but you're interested in Hellblade 2 and Hontai or E.
Yep, I'd definitely be giving those two a try. And I've got Chance of Sinner on the dashboard ready to go. It took literally 10 minutes to download. The art style looked really nice. And the fact that you had to solve the puzzles to decipher what was being said on the screen kind of drew my interest.
Ooh, so it's kind of like it has its own language, like Tunic kind of thing?
Yep.
Nice. That is fun. I'm looking right now on how long it takes to beat this game. I'm probably not going to play it because I spelled it wrong or something. Oh, 2 N's. Spelling is so difficult.
When you read the art on the screen, it doesn't look like it says Chance of Sinner. I know that much.
9 hours.
Well, it's a long game.
Yeah, longer.
For such a small download.
Yeah, longer than I thought it would be, to be honest. So yeah, I'm interested in those two. Anything else before we skip the X feed and go to the dashboard?
No. Oh, did you find anything about Go Mecha?
Oh yeah, Go Mecha Ball came out in January. It's out right now. You can play it.
Oh, so why was our social media team put a post out about it? There was like some hype.
Well, I don't know. I'm sure if the social media team put it out, then I missed something. That's very much likely what happened. I would trust the social media team long before I would trust myself when it comes to this stuff.
They are pretty on fire. So for while we figure this out, at GPT Gaming News is the X space that we have. The guys that handle that are absolutely fantastic. There is a good team of them that are all behind that, and they do a brilliant job of delivering great news, screenshots of the games and stuff like that to try and entice you in. But we're also now dropping reviews, with Halo Infinite being the first review that's out there. Yeah, it's there. Sorry, I'll just stop what I'm saying. Yeah, May 16th, it came back.
Oh, Go Mecha Ball did? Oh, I didn't know it left. It didn't look. There you go.
If it didn't leave or it hadn't come to Game Pass, but it has now come to Game Pass.
No, I played Go Mecha Ball. So. Well,
did you play that on the Switch?
Freaking A. I played something. I don't know, Sean. Let me look at this again.
But anyway, yeah.
Oh sorry, yeah, I totally played this game. Yeah, I played this game with Noah. It was fun. It was a Game Pass game. It must have left for a hot second, and we didn't even realize it.
Possibly, it's very possible. So let's just look at that very quickly. It's a pinned post on our X page. The Halo Infinite multiplayer reviews on there. Some absolutely beautiful graphics, well worded review. So if you haven't played the game and you're interested, go and give it a read. Or if you just like to read reviews and see what people's opinion are and stuff, go ahead and play it. It's a very nice long article for you to read while you're maybe having your morning coffee.
There you go. On to our dashboard. Sean, what is on your dashboard?
So Chance of Sinner is on there, ready and waiting to play. The first Hellblade is on there, ready and waiting to play. So they're the two that I've got lined up. I've been playing a lot more Fallout again, when I possibly can, like an hour here and there. I think it took me 9 hours to get to Diamond City. So I've got 2 suits of power armor. I've got all kinds of crazy weapons that I've picked up and modified and stuff along the way. So rather than, let me guess right, my first play, I did the thing of talking to Preston, and he was like, "Settlement needs your help," and I was like, "Nope, I'm going this way," and like kind of just searching around the map, having some prior knowledge to the game. I'm kind of like, right, okay, I'm going to go and do some settlement stuff because like doing the settlement stuff levels you up quickly. So I did that, and I'm now at like level 14 or 15. So then by the time you get to Diamond City, the super mutants that kind of surround Diamond City are too horrific. And the swarms of feral ghouls and stuff that come at you are too horrific. Gotcha. So I've done some of the main quest lines now. I'm on my way to find the Institute. The Brotherhood of Steel are in the sky and shouting at me all the time, as they do. But that's about it. That's where I'm at with Fallout. Really, like I said, I'm really enjoying it. Playing it through all over again. I think the new graphics are great. Still. And there has been another update which has further improved those graphics as well recently. So
nice. Yeah. Which, by the way, for anybody who doesn't know, this is Sean's like MO. He like when he plays a game that he doesn't that he's playing for the first time, he like finds every edge of the map. I'm like, yeah, I've played it. I've built a settlement. I'm crafting some stuff. Sean's like, I got the whole map uncovered. And I was like, wait, what? I'm totally confused. What do you mean? He's like, I just ran to the edge. Like, I love it. I love how you do it.
I run to the edge, or I find the highest point, and I get to the highest point, look around and be like, I'm going to go that way. So
yeah, and it's so great. And I have like this little quarter-sized piece of like, if we're playing the same game, that's how it'll be. I'll have this little quarter-sized piece, and I'll be like building and crafting, and Sean will have the whole map undone. He's like, I haven't built anything yet, but I got the whole map uncovered. I love it.
It's like I have gaming ADHD. It's like, there's a quest that you need to do. Nope, no, thank you. Goodbye.
It was like
it's the same with the next game that I'm going to talk about. Big City Little Key. I have played that. I have completed it. You have also played it and completed it. But I just got so sidetracked with that. They were like, I had all the fish so I could make the big climb and to complete the game, and I was like, I'm not going to go do that. I'm going to go here, and I'm going to go there, and I'm going to do this quest, and there's like, I've got to trip up so many more people to get this and stuff like that. So yeah. I mean, I love that game, by the way. That is, they every now and then we get little games like this, like Tunic, like just on that climbing one, which was absolutely stunning.
Yeah.
Short to play, but absolutely stunning. So we get little indie games like this every now and then, and I absolutely fall in love with them. And I used to not be an indie fan. I used to play Call of Duty, and Call of Duty. So like that's all I would play. And then as we got more into Game Pass and stuff like that, and I think the Switch helped a little bit because that was quite heavy on indies as well.
Sure.
And listening to the Nintendo dads. And talking to you as well, because you're a big fan of indie games. So like talking to what you've been playing and stuff like that, I kind of broke into the indies, and now when they drop little ones like this, I'm just absolutely in awe of them, and I love them to bits. So
sweet. So no fall. Oh, not fall. Fortnite. Are you? I saw something that you were thinking maybe about jumping back.
There's apparently going to be a Fortnite and Fallout crossover, but there's also going to be a Call of Duty and Fallout crossover. Rumored.
No.
So it's like, which direction do I go? Because I have literally just got out of my Fortnite addiction to start playing Fallout 4. So if I have to go back into Fortnite, which I will, if it happens, I'm going to go in and fully get the whole battle pass, the skins, everything, and play it until I've unlocked all the Fallout stuff. But I'll also try and do the same with Call of Duty. So it's like I need to pick which direction I want to go in the most.
Oh man, that sounds rough. Well, let me know when you make your decision, if it's Call of Duty or Fortnite. I'm legit interested which way you go at this point, because I know you were loving Fortnite, but you also love Call of Duty.
It would probably go more towards Fortnite because I can play that with Jaya. I can also play it with the kiddos. Where Warzone, I can't really play that with the kids. There's
Sure.
too many people that swear on that game.
Sure. I gotcha. Sweet. Well, for me, like Sean said, we're both playing Little Kitty Big City. I also beat that game. It was a ton of fun. I think they did a great job with the cat. All of that was fantastic. Art style's fun. The story's cute. Yeah, the little characters that he meets along the way are great. I just loved the whole thing. So it was great. It was, I think, almost about the right amount of time. I'm not gonna lie. The what do you want to say? The cuteness and all that was kind of wearing off, and like oh look, you get to do all this stuff was kind of like it was kind of waning on me a bit, and that's kind of like right when the fish came in, and I was like, oh cool, I can wrap this up, and so I did.
Did you do the chameleon quest?
I don't think I finished it. I think there's 4. I think I got 3 of them.
There's 9 in total.
What? I thought he said there was 1. I thought he said 4. I thought I saw 4. 9. Oh yeah, no, I definitely did not finish the chameleon quest.
And the ducks? Did you do the
Yes, I did the ducks. I found all the little quackers.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. The ducks was all. I think the ducks was the worst one. The chameleon, he was kind of like quite. Once you'd done what I do and going around and exploring everything, I kind of had an idea where things were. So he was quite rapid to get done.
Hey Sean, I heard a joke today. Why does the duck have feathers?
To
cover its butt quack. Sorry, that's just for you. It's just for all you people out there.
Okay, I'm gonna have to retaliate. With
oh no! So what have we done? What have I done?
Emily told me this one. If you go into a toilet and you're American, and you come out of a toilet and American, what are you while you're in the toilet?
European.
Yeah. Sorry, I had to retaliate.
No, that was good.
She got me with that, and I tripped over a tree stump, and she went, "Well, you're stumped."
I have heard the European one, but I've never heard it said like that. I really like that version of how to tell that joke. That's good. Anyway, so,
while we're walking around the woods earlier with the dog, and she said both of those, and I was so proud.
Yeah, for sure. That's awesome. All right, so I've been playing Minecraft Dungeons with the kids. And that's about it. And we haven't really played very much of it. And it's been out for 100 years, so I'm not going to really tell you anything that you don't already know. I would like to get to all 3 of these games. Will I? I don't know. Life's crazy. But Hellblade 2, Galactic Air, and Hauntai, and I still have another Crab's Treasure. I would like to get to all those things, but that's a lot of things, so we'll see. We will see. I'm not going to roll into party chat, Sean, but we do have a question from Acid TK03. Shot up Tyler himself, shot us a question. Man, this one is a little like White Christmassy almost, Is it White Christmas? No, never mind. You did the wrong thing. Don't listen to anything I say anymore. Had a question for the show I've had on the backlog. If Nintendo wasn't a gaming company, do you think Sega could have brought the industry back? Things could be very different in today's gaming world. So,
I think that Sega would have done something like they have done with the Switch, just because they had the Game Gear at one point, and I loved my little Sega Game Gear. So I used to play that in the car going to my grandparents. I used to play it, kind of like chilling out at home. I mean, it absolutely 8 batteries. That thing took 6 AA batteries. But I absolutely loved it. I loved being able to play Sonic on the move. It didn't have a backlight at all, which absolutely sucked. But like the original Game Boy didn't. It was a lot bigger than the original Game Boy and stuff like that. But I absolutely loved it. So I think if Nintendo had been as successful with the Wii, and then obviously the lack of I don't know, achievement with the Wii U, then I think Sega could definitely have had Sega could have had a better step in terms of hardware and stuff like that for games. But Nintendo did a really good job with the Switch. They marketed it well, they showed it off well, and they absolutely delivered on what they said it could do. I ummed and ahed whether or not buying a Switch because I thought this is a gimmick. Like after the Wii U being such a flop, I was like, this is such a gimmick that like I can dock it, pick it up, walk away with it, carry on playing it, and it like just be seamless. But yeah, it was great. I wish Sega would make a comeback because they made some pretty stellar games. I wish they would focus on making a better version of Sonic. Sonic Frontiers was fun, but it soon became very repetitive. So I would like them to go back and look at the shortfalls of Sonic Frontiers and come back with a stronger, more creative open world version of Sonic.
Sure. So competition is key in the consumer world, in my opinion. And I don't think either one of these would have rose to the occasion if they didn't have the other. What's the man? I can't remember the Nintendo Sega documentary book. What is that called? It's an amazing piece of literature. Gosh darn it. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I'm not 100% certain.
Console Wars. It's a book about this exact thing. If you want to know what it was like back then, it is a fantastic book. Is it Console Wars? No, I'm trying to. Yes, Sega v Nintendo. And it is Console Wars. I was trying to see if I could figure out who made it or who wrote it. Not made it. Sorry, it's a book. I can't. He's wrote another book that I've read too, about the MetaQuest, but what was Oculus in the beginning. Anyways, so I don't think either one of these companies would have rose to the occasion if it wasn't for the other. They just wouldn't have needed to fight. They wouldn't have needed to try to get better and better to do it. They would have been the only one in the room, and they could have done whatever they wanted to be honest. So that's just how it was. Somebody would have came in if Sega wasn't there, likely would have been PlayStation. They were the next. Sony was the next one interested. But if Nintendo wasn't fighting as hard, would Nintendo have just lazily decided to take on Sony? Because that's what was supposed to happen, right? In that entire documentary, Nintendo and Sony were supposed to work together. And
to make that abomination that we've seen.
Yeah, and they came to announce it and didn't tell Sony that they changed their mind. And the Sony exec is sitting in the front, waiting to be called up, and it just doesn't happen. They just don't come. I mean, it is a crazy story. It was a Wild West, and so I don't think either one of them would have broke into the gaming market, and I think if it would have been able to lift the gaming market out of the slump if it wouldn't have been for both of them fighting each other for that space. It would have sat limp until somebody gave them the competition and the need to fight, quite frankly.
Yeah. And that only shows the same though with Xbox and Sony, that it's that constant needing to be better in a shape or form has driven them into doing things like Sony doing the PlayStation VR. Xbox did the Cortana and the whole Kinect bar because Sony had the Move. So there's all that, and then there's the whole Blu-ray and HD DVD drive kind of saga, which came with the PS3 and the Xbox 360 having the external disc drive, which was for HD DVDs. That brought about the whole Betamax and VHS war all over again. And obviously Sony won with the Blu-ray discs because it was just convenient that you could buy a Blu-ray disc and put it straight into your media player, Sony PS3, where with Xbox, if you wanted to watch your HD DVD, you needed to buy an external source to be able to play that. So
yeah, so it's Blake Harris. Sorry, it took me so long to figure this out. Console Wars. And if you're interested in the other one I'm talking about, where Blake Harris does an amazing job of making boring corporate super interesting. Like, I just don't know how else to say it. Like, it's a rando story about two companies fighting, but yet when Blake tells the story, it doesn't sound that way at all. You're riveted of like what's going to happen next. And it's the same way with The History of the Future, which is the book about Oculus. If you're ever interested, like, I mean, I know you're a MetaQuest fan, Sean, but the story of how this kid made the Oculus and where he went and how he sold it to Facebook and what happened afterwards. It's riveting. It's a riveting story, quite frankly.
I'm assuming when he's dealt with Facebook and Zuckerberg that he was rogerly bent over and morally effed.
Read it and find out. So yeah, but that really is my thought, Tyler. I don't think either company could have brought the industry back if it wasn't for both of them fighting each other. And they both wanted to get better and better. You know, he's great. Competition's a great thing, right? Like Sean knows, I've had crappy internet and I've paid a ton of money for it for most of our podcasting journey. And then I only have that one company to choose from. And then another company jumps in and offers fiber in my area for like a paltry amount, like a third of what I'm paying to beg to get like at least 100 megs up and like 10 or 100 megs down and 10 megs up. And then this other company comes in with 1 gig up, 1 gig down, a third of the price. All of a sudden, the other company that was offering Jack Diddley for a ton of money is now all of a sudden they're raining flyers in our neighborhood saying, well, we can do 1 gig too. Here, how about, and we'll do it for this amount. You know, I mean, competition is a beautiful thing in this market and it can work in our favor a ton. And I think the Sega Nintendo thing worked in our favor a ton.
Yeah. It brought us the consoles that we've got now, the games that we've been able to play growing up. So, yeah.
And thank you, Tyler. We love questions. If you're listening to us and you have questions, we love bantering about your questions and answering them. And we will give you a shout out and, do our best to give you an answer that makes some sense. So thanks.
Gotta say, yeah, we answer the questions on the fly, so we don't have a lot of time to prepare. So sometimes they can kind of go down rabbit holes and squirrel in several different directions before we make our point.
100%. Which is pretty much true with the entire podcast. And sometimes we just do the podcast backwards because I don't know why. I don't know what happened because I literally have brain fog and I fart on top of that and then that happens. So there you go.
I blame it being Saturday. It's been a week. Yeah. I put a family member in the ground on Thursday, which is a bit sad.
For sure.
But we had a couple of other things we were like, that we wanted to try and get done before. There wasn't much news on the Tuesday, so we pushed it to the Thursday. By the time I got home from the funeral on the Thursday, I was like in no mental capacity to kind of do a podcast with as much as Nick always cheers me up every week. It's one of my favorite parts of the week is sitting with Nick and chatting games. So
right back at you.
I was kind of like, I think I put Lindsay went to bed and I kind of just sat and played Fallout until my eyes were tired and then I went to bed. So
yep. Yeah, we want to bring you guys good spirits and high energy and fun podcasts. And sometimes we're just not in the mental space to do that. And we got to take care of ourselves. And I know you understand that. And we appreciate that.
Yep.
So take us out,
Thank you very much. Yep. Thank you very much for that. Thank you very much for listening. I have one little tiny piece of news before we disappear that just dropped now. It's over on our X page, which is at GPT Gaming News. There is a new State of Decay 2 dynamic background, which is now available to download and use on your Xbox Series X and Series S. So you can go to, like I said, the X page and have a look at that. There'll probably be a way of telling you where to get that and how to get it and how to make sure it works properly because they are very informative over there. You can get in touch with me. It's Sean_Abbott. And for Nick, it is at Nick10Do. So Nick 10Do. As he is a massive Nintendo fan, like myself. He's sporting his Mario attire as well. So yeah, come join us again next week. We'll hopefully have the show in the right order, and we'll have more fantastic gaming news for all of you out there. But until then, we shall see you later.